Hello, you beautiful human. I am Xanthe, and today we are going to be talking about compulsory heterosexuality. First of all, I just want to thank Anna for suggesting this video on what compulsory heterosexuality is, and I actually found a lot of information on this topic. So I am going to be talking to you about what it is, who first talked about it, what it means, stuff like that. So let's get into it. So compulsory heterosexuality, or CompHet, which I'm going to be using more often because compulsory heterosexuality is hard to say. CompHet is much easier to say. So who first addressed what CompHet is? So the first person to ever conceptualize or use the term CompHet was Adrienne Rich, and she was the first person to address CompHet in her 1980 essay, Compulsory Heterosexuality and Lesbian Existence. So she was the first one to kind of make that term mean something, and so this is what she talked about in her essay. And I will be leaving the resources that I used to create this research note thingy in the description down below. So if you want to read her essay or watch a video that I watched to get information, you can, just down in this description. Adrienne Rich argues that heterosexuality, especially in women, is not natural. Instead, it is a political institution that is imposed on society and its people. So what exactly is CompHet, and what does it mean, and what does it do? CompHet is the assumption that heterosexuality is the default sexual orientation. This is why the coming out process in the LGBTQIA2+ community is so hard, and that it even has to exist at all. Without CompHet and the assumption that heterosexuality is the default sexual orientation, the coming out process would not be that hard, and it wouldn't even really be necessary. So for example, for let's say an introductory game at a camp or something, they would say, hey, what is your name, sexual orientation, and your pronouns, and it would just be completely normalized. You'd say, I would say, I am Xanthe, I am a lesbian, and my pronouns are she, her, just so everyone knows, and it's super normal, and that's what it would be like if CompHet was not around. So how is CompHet different to heteronormativity? CompHet is different from heterosexuality because it is enforced, whereas where heteronormativity is assumed. So with CompHet, it is enforced that someone needs to fit in this little box to be right. So they have to be straight, they have to be either male or female, all that stuff. I'll get into that later, but it's basically putting you in this restrictive box, and if you don't follow that, then you will be punished. Heteronormativity, however, is just the assumption that heterosexuality is the normal sexuality, and that most people are going to assume you're straight unless proven otherwise. CompHet basically oppresses people into the institutionalized normal of being heterosexual and only ever being able to be heterosexual. You can't be anything else because that you are forced in this little tiny box of perfectness. So I'm going to read you what my personal definition of CompHet is, and so I'm just going to read it. If I'm looking down, that's why. So CompHet is the enforced box that society has fit us into. Otherwise, if you do not fit into this box, you're going to be punished and shamed for it. For example, girls must be feminine, boys must be masculine, men and women must only fantasize about female and male sexual encounters. You must be married to the opposite sex before having intercourse. You must not self-pleasure and must not think about the same sex in the way that you do the opposite sex. So basically, all of this stuff you're not allowed to do because you're in this tiny little box, and otherwise you're going to be punished for it and shamed for it. So basically it's like this impossible box that nobody can really fit into. And you see this in media, television, radio, community, religion, etc. Alright, so how does CompHet affect lesbians and females who are attracted to females? Women are forced to think that the only way to find sexual attraction is in men. They will often truly believe that they are straight, even if they aren't. They will go through uncomfortable situations just to prove that they are in fact straight. Some women even say that they haven't found the right man yet. Some women actually find themselves feeling comfortable with men and live the rest of their lives never questioning otherwise. So a lot of women actually have made videos on their experience with CompHet and how because of that they never really questioned it because, well, why would they? That's the norm. To be straight is the norm. But they always felt like, oh, I'm not, like, this isn't right. Even if they convince themselves that they are straight, they're still never going to feel the fulfillment of the connection that they could have if they knew what the right gender was. This might make a woman feel like she doesn't deserve to feel happy in who she is and that love is supposed to feel this way. I've heard this so much from different YouTubers that when they didn't know that they were gay and they were with other people in different relationships, in straight relationships, they just never felt full. It's actually quite sad that women have to feel like, oh, you need to fit into this impossible box just to be normal and not to be punished. So basically, women are pushed to feel that they only have one choice in a partner or a gender, and that no matter how they feel about it, they have to like it because that's the norm and that's what they're supposed to feel. So that's kind of what it does to lesbians, women who are attracted to other women. Obviously I couldn't research every single different kind of person, but you can kind of assume with this video if someone is slightly out of the norm, then they would feel wrong, basically. So what does this say for men? Now, don't be hating men. Even though these rules and these standards were primarily made by men, or only, very far in the past, this doesn't mean that all men are bad. Think about it. Men are also put into this small box of only being able to be masculine, only being able to like one gender, only being able to fantasize about one gender, never being able to do all these other things. And so gay men have a horrible time breaking out of this tiny little box because especially men have this huge stigma that they have to be manly and they have to like obey orders and stay within this tiny little box. And so even though this does affect lesbians a lot and women who are just different in that, like they're different than the little box, this also hugely impacts men as well. So although CompHet is designed to oppress women and make men more in power and in charge, it still does affect men, if that makes any sense. Again, trying not to offend anyone, this is just what I've researched. If you know more, just let me know in the comments and I would love to hear your feedback. So now I just want to kind of talk about the disadvantages that heteros actually have. And you might be thinking, what? What are you talking about, Xanthe? Heteros are the norm in that little box, so why would they have a hard time? Well, when I was thinking about it, heterosexuals never have that questioning stage, or not that I know of. And so they never get to explore themselves. People who have broken out of that box, like I have and so many others that I know have, we have learned about ourselves. We've learned about so much about ourselves, and it actually helps for self-love and pride. because pride is the opposite of shame, and shame is the worst feeling to make you feel worthless, basically. So if you have pride, that is incredible, and I am so, so happy for you. But these people who are in this box and they feel comfortable in this box, they're never going to explore themselves and see what else could happen in their lives. So it's just kind of sad to know that a lot of people who do identify as cisgender and straight, they might not ever really discover themselves. So let's all try to really dig deep into our souls and our minds and really try to figure ourselves out and learn about ourselves, even if you do feel comfortable in this little box. It might bring you pride. It might make you proud of yourself. And like I said before, pride is an incredible feeling. Pride Month, yes, it is dedicated to the LGBTQIA2+ community, but pride itself is not only for that community, it is for everyone. So just try to learn about yourself, try to love yourself, try to be proud of yourself, and it can really change you for the better. I love you so much, and I am so thankful for this suggestion from Anna to make this video, and I cannot wait to read your comments, see if you have anything to add, see if you have any more video suggestions. Anything, just give me a comment down below. Subscribe if you want more LGBTQIA2+ community information and videos. So just let me know, and I will see you next time in this video here. These are some very, very cool interviews that I did with people in the LGBTQIA2+ community, and I think you'll really enjoy them. So I'll see you in there. Love you. See you there.